So, what about the concern of not experiencing perceived benefits from not going back to pornography? This is basically a concern in the form of discouragement. Maybe there's been a certain amount of days since someone quit pornography and they were hoping they would feel super great super quickly and they don't feel that much different. How should one go about thinking about this kind of concern? There are many points that can be made. One of them is um, eh, let's say I grant, for the sake of argument, the blatantly false premise that there is absolutely no benefit to staying away from pornography, short term or long term. Even if I granted that, that still wouldn't explain the positive decision to go use pornography. So like, just like if there's something you think of that like there's absolutely no consequence if you don't do that. But if you decide to go make that choice to do that thing, there was still some positive reason why one went to do that. And the reason I make this point is even if I granted this false premise, if I rightly understood that there is no benefit, there's no good, there's nothing desirable to make the positive choice to go use pornography, then even if I don't perceive benefits in staying away from it, the thing in of itself is still undesirable. So there's no reason to make that positive choice. On top of all the other points you can make, the lack of a perceived benefit in staying away from it doesn't justify the decision to go positively choose to do it. Because pornography in of itself, at least for one reason, because pornography in of itself is stupid and undesirable. And second, another point worth making is that the reality of growth should not be equivocated with the perception of growth. This is an important point, and an analogy that is helpful here is like anyone who has worked out for a long enough amount of time can attest that like it's not like they worked out once and they realize, oh, I reached all my goals right away. Or every single time they work out, they can perceive all of the reaching of their goals with every single workout. They just leave every workout feeling absolutely fantastic. That's but what they can perceive is like, oh, I did better on this workout this time than I did last time, or I can tell I'm getting stronger, or I can tell that even if I'm not reaching all the goals like right away that I want to reach, I can tell this habit is helping point me in a right direction, and that's important, and I can appreciate that. Like growth can be perceived by the mind before it's perceived by the body. And so you shouldn't allow discouragement of the failure to perceive like a physical difference from the reality that staying away from pornography is objectively a good decision to pursue growth. Thirdly, to use an analogy, like someone who wants to get healthier, if they step back and evaluate their life and they recognize like they are eating a lot of fast food and they recognize that and they're like, you know what? Let me cut back on this fast food. Let me stop eating so much fast food. Even just by that, even by the inaction of stopping doing something that they were already doing, in of themselves, and they want to get healthier. Even just by stopping doing that, they can see that that is something helpful to help them get healthier. But that person should also do other things to help them pursue health, like having an overall like pursuing to eat healthier foods, exercising more, other habits that are helpful for pursuing health. I make this point because it's extremely important to stay away from the stupid garbage of pornography, but it's not like your goal alone should be to be a non-PMOer and then everything else just leave it the same. The goal is should not merely be to not go back to that garbage, but to get closer to God, to become a better man, to live a better life. And then what habits can you seek to grow in to help you with those things? A fourth point is maybe it takes some people like a shorter amount of time, some people a longer amount of time to experience like perceivable benefits from staying away from pornography. That obviously, in light of the points that are already mentioned, that shouldn't discourage someone. But like, I'm making this point because like, if someone's making this kind of claim and they're not even really giving themselves enough time to even allow themselves to perceive the benefits from staying away from pornography, then obviously again the claim in of itself should not justify discouragement. But still, like, stay away from pornography. Allow yourself time to grow. And for a fifth point and a more fundamental one, there doesn't need to be a perceived benefit to motivate not doing something wrong. So to use an example, say there's someone who recognizes that they lie a lot and they want to stop lying, they realize it's wrong. And let's say they go 30 days, they're done, they're getting that habit out of their life. They go 30 days and they're like, I haven't lied in 30 days, but I just don't feel that much better. Does that kind of statement really make sense? Like, should they be able to, did they have to be able to write like a 10-page dissertation on all the ways they feel better and their life has changed since they got that out of their life? Or is not lying in of itself a good that should motivate like keeping that out of their life? And similarly, basically the argument is that the perceived benefits in a sense are almost like an add-on, not a necessary prerequisite to stop doing something wrong. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope these arguments, these points were helpful. for avoiding discouragement. And a key, again, to reiterate a very important point, that perceived growth is not the same thing as actual growth. Getting the poison of pornography and keeping it out of one's life is important, even if one doesn't perceive the benefits as they go on, because overall the decision to keep poison out of your life is a good one. So hope that was a helpful video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like, and thanks for watching.